going to talk about the December NFT Reward Competition, then show you a no NFT boom case build that anyone can use, and then I'm going to go into detail on the entire build process. This might take a while, so I'll try to be quick. The next competition will begin on December 27, 2022, and the meta for points will be Boom Canes. Boom Canes will give 2,000 in-game cash each, which is a reduced amount of cash, and give 25,000 points each, and only take 20 seconds to craft for the competition. Boom Canes are crafted in the North Pole Creation Lab and stored in the warehouse. Boom Canes are crafted using 2 magic powder, 1 mystic matter, and 2 candy canes. The reward structure for this competition is an NFT prize for the top 4,500 placements that have a minimum of 50,000 points in order to be eligible for a prize, with better ranks receiving a higher version of the NFT prize. And the NFT prize this time is the Great Woodlands Ghost Card. This ghost card will reduce the craft timer for tree farms. That means faster wood production, which is always useful. In my opinion, this will be one of the most powerful ghost card NFT yet, and possibly of all time. You definitely don't want to miss out on this reward. Now, of course, there are other meta changes, but most importantly, flower and ice blocks will be cash boosted. So I highly recommend doing a flower rush and then transitioning into an ice rush. And if you don't know how to craft ice blocks, don't worry. I'll explain exactly what you need near the end when I talk about the whole build process, so stick around. With these cash boosts, you'll have no issues getting cash for managing your wages, and it also makes this build quicker than usual. The biome I recommend for this competition is once again the desert, because of the oil seep for the passive crude oil, as you will be using a lot of gas to constantly sell any excess items. And it allows you to have a power plant crafting energy because of the passive crude oil, which is very important. The biome edges I recommend are either one river or one ocean. The river would save space on ponds, and the ocean would save space on salt fields, since you do need brine for this build. The build I'm about to share doesn't use any edge biomes, so if you manage to get a river or ocean, you can definitely work to improve the build further. Okay, time for the build showcase. This is the Boom Canes build using no NFTs with the exception of the Enchanted Ornament 7. But if you don't have that one, it really doesn't make a difference. This build does about 35 boom canes an hour. In my opinion, that's a great rate considering that it doesn't have a river or ocean or any nuclear power plants. If you were to have a river or ocean or tweak it to implement nuclear power plants, you could definitely push it to get at least 40 an hour. I'm sure this build will get people into the top 1200 if they build it in good time. I'm not sure about top 600 unless you manage to tweak it to get it to do 40 an hour or so. Or you have some NFTs like the Miranda skins or enchanted ornaments to get it there. Okay, so the build is on the desert, of course, for the reasons I already mentioned, specifically the North Orientation Desert. If you do decide you want to copy this build, make sure you pick deserts with nothing obstructing it on the north edge. That way you'll get a North Orientation Desert. That way you'll get the oil seep right here. And make sure you keep the oil seep, because if you were to remove it, you cannot get it back. Remember to utilize the ghost store trick by having buildings face each other, or face a pond or water pump or the edge of the town. As you can see, both of these buildings are facing each other. This one's facing the edge of the town. This one is facing a water pump. So like that. And this also works for the beehives, although it can be pretty hard to figure out what side is the front of the beehive. But I do recommend you do the ghost store trick for the beehives as well. That way they can get to the wild clover fields faster. So let me just zoom around here and show you what some of these buildings are crafting, because it can be hard to tell. These 3 master wizards are crafting magic powder. These 2 fabric plants are crafting cotton yarn. These 2 shallow mines are crafting limestone. Right here in between 2 water pumps, I have the master wizard crafting ice blocks. Now it's getting 3 passive gold from having 3 wizards workshops surrounding it, as each of these wizards workshops provides 1 passive gold each. The wizard's workshop to the left is crafting glue, and to the bottom left and bottom right, those wizards workshops are crafting mystic matter. More to the left, we have another wizard's workshop crafting glue. We also have both or 2 North Pole creation labs crafting the boom caves. Of course, I have the power plant crafting energy, but I also have a wind turbine on a green timer crafting energy. The energy is being collected by the forklift whenever it's not busy collecting clay fields, and all the energy gets deposited on this warehouse to be used by the pottery shops crafting ceramic bowls, all on green timers, and also by this lumber mill as it only has 1 passive energy. Of course, we have the candy shops crafting candy canes, and beehives. This beehive is crafting honeycomb. This one to the top, honey, bottom honeycomb. This one, top honeycomb, bottom honey. And this gives me a pretty average honey and honeycomb rates. A pretty even rate, I should say. Of course, all the windmills are crafting sugar. And I believe that's all the buildings. Okay, now something I haven't done before. Make sure you like the video if you like what you're seeing, because all of this took a good amount of time to do. Okay, so this is the townguide.eu visualizer tool. I have created a 10-stage setup to show you how you can get to the finished build in, well, 10 stages is what I call it. So I'm going to assume that you got a desert in the north orientation, so your oil seep will be in this spot right here. First stage is you're going to want to start your flower rush, and to do that you're going to want to have 5 windmills like so. None of them will have any shade right here, which means they'll have a green timer to craft flower as fast as possible. You'll want to move your silo right here. You'll want to have at least 2 builder houses to build everything quicker, and you're going to want to have 3 wells as you'll be making a lot of ponds. Make 3 ponds, that way you can surround them with tree farms and wheat fields. Have 2 storehouses nearby to deposit flour in, have a wood storage nearby for the wood, and of course a couple of lumberjacks and farmer houses. Then advancing to stage 2, start working on your industrial area. Specifically, you want the industrial worker, the wind turbine, and the warehouse so you can start collecting energy. This is optional, but you could add 3 more ponds and have more trees. I believe it'll make things quicker. You will want to have an oak tree, as you'll want to have 2 water pumps right here. And of course, you'll need the pond here first. You'll want more lumberjacks and builder houses. Then you'll want to work on your lumber mill. Craft lumber. Get some lumber to pave this road. And then slowly work on your first power plant. Start crafting energy. As soon as you have that, you can build both refineries to start crafting gasoline and petroleum, but you might not need to craft gasoline at this point, so only start crafting gasoline as soon as you need to. After this, advancing to stage 3, add a couple more roads, and slowly start working on 2 more power plants, which require paved roads, like so. Once you have all 3 power plants like this, you'll be able to craft gasoline with full passive energy, so go ahead and turn it on if you have it. If the fuel storage on top of here no longer has any more gasoline, go ahead and sell it. And start building a trade depot on the bottom left, as you'll need to get rid of the one at the top eventually. Of course, add more builder houses as needed. And add a water pump down here as it'll be needed for the ice rush step. So going on to stage 4, this is the beginning of the ice rush. you'll need to have a master wizard right here surrounded by 2 water pumps. That master wizard needs to be surrounded by 3 wizard's workshops to give it the 3 passive coal that it needs. This will allow you to craft the ice blocks very quickly, and you'll want a storehouse nearby to store them in. Right here, I also add 2 more warehouses and a warehouse right here for energy collection. Of course, add more builder houses as needed. And then after that, you want to work on the first half of the tree area, as I call it. So you'll need to add a lot of ponds and tree farms up here. Moving on to stage 5, finish up the rest of the farm area, adding more ponds and the crops that you'll need for the finished build. We'll add more lumber mills to craft more lumber, another wood storage, and more water pumps, 1 right here, 1 right here, and the water facility down here. After all this is built, I believe no more oak wood will be needed. Moving on to the next stage, stage 6 as I call it. Work on the road structure and start working on adding the loggers for the build. Moving on to stage 7, pave all the roads, get rid of any lumberjacks since you already have the loggers. Also, you should already have a forklift, getting rid of the industrial workers since the forklift will be faster. And then you'll start building these other buildings such as the pottery shops. 2 more lumber mills, these will actually stay since these will be leaving later. The silos, North Pole Creation Labs, a pantry, and another wizard's workshop. And the beekeepers. Moving on to the next stage, add more buildings such as the candy shops, master wizards, fabric plants, and mines, as well as the beehives. At this point, you can turn all the crafts on except for the water facility. Don't craft water drums yet, or else you'll start crafting limestone, which means you're using up your lumber. So after this, going to stage 9, add the windmills and the silo, have all windmills crafting sugar. And finally, stage 10, the final part, add the farm tractors, they'll start collecting crops. Go ahead and add brine, salt fields to collect brine, and then clay fields for the clay lumps. Turn water drums on, and this should start the whole process. And that's it for the final build. Before I forget, go to stage. This is the total number of all buildings used in the finished build, total amount of money used, and the wages per minute. But like I said, cash is not an issue. You'll get a ton of cash doing the flour and then doing the ice block rush. That's everything for this video. I hope this has been a big help to you. I wanted to get this video out earlier, but I needed more time to test the build. Also, I pretty much recorded this whole video twice because the first time it was taking a little too long and the audio was kind of choppy. Hopefully the audio is a bit better on this one. But yeah. Okay, so I definitely recommend participating in this competition. The reward is definitely a useful one, and I do believe it'll probably be pretty valuable in the future. And it's not as hard as you might think. If you're new to Townstar and Gala Games, check out the link on the description of this video to create a new account and join using my referral link. Please consider liking the video if you haven't yet, and leave a comment with any questions or feedback you may have. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do that, or else you might miss out on some important information and advice. I'm also going to live stream the competition, so feel free to hang out if you want to watch my entire build process for this competition. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for watching.